This university and this program is extra special to me. I feel like we've been through it together, you know, and because of that, the reason for that is that on March 11th, 2020, this was the last program that I was at before the world shut down. I remember going back to my hotel and seeing the president come on and telling, you know, doing a video and telling people to breathe, we were gonna be okay. And little did I know that my world was gonna fall apart, everybody's world was gonna fall apart, we were gonna be in a worldwide pandemic. And so I'd bonded with so many of these players and the coaches. And then we go through this pandemic, and Coach Wells allowed me to address them via Zoom in their most vulnerable time, all of our most vulnerable times. And so those relationships deepened even further. And what I learned during the pandemic was we need each other now more than ever. So I had never done this before, but I gave out my phone number and I said, if you're, you know, I'd given out my email or my socials before, but I never gave out my phone number. And I just said, hey, if you need me, I'm here. And after that talk, the phone just lit up, text messages about moms that were sick and family members and stressors and mental health and isolation and depression. And you meant this to me and you meant that to me. And so we were further bonded, right? And then to get to come here a year almost to the day and come back and look in their faces, look in their eyeballs and get to see them like in person, these kings. And we got to make these shirts, a king isn't born, he is made, and I got to help design these and give them to them as a surprise. It's just really special. And for me, I think one of the most special parts is the guy that's leading it, and that's Coach Wells. You know, I do this, I've been doing this for 4.5 years, I've been to a lot of schools, 40 plus schools, but there's a difference in a coach that has me in, but then a coach is like what he purports or what he puts out the day he has me in every other day of the year, truly cares about the mental health and wellness of his players, and that's Coach Matt Wells. He and I developed this beautiful relationship, friendship during the pandemic, where if somebody was in trouble or something was going on, I called him. We'd call to talk about how do we help? How do we make players' lives better? How do we, you know, support each other, right? And so for me, I think this program is so special. One of the big reasons is because of the fact that the guy that's leading it is a king through and through. You know, it's hard to ask the players to be kings. The king isn't perfect. It's somebody who knows better, so they do better. They're accountable, they lead, they serve, they give. They're imperfect, but they are accountable when they're imperfect. And so for me, you've got a king of all kings that's leading the program, and Matt Wells. And so Texas Tech fans should be really pleased and proud, deeply and profoundly down into their soul, that they have a guy like him leading this program.
Really great to have Rachel back in Lubbock today. Second time live, third message that she's given our program, and it's always a message of hope. It's a message of purpose. She touches on how to treat women. She touches on mental health in so many different ways, and caring for yourself is a big part of that. I know it not only speaks to our players, but it speaks to us as coaches. It is someone that after multiple times in front of our guys, they trust. And I believe her story resonates with our players, with our team, with our program. And I think it's part of my job as a coach is to develop the whole part in each athlete, each student athlete. And it's not just on the field, but it's off the field in so many ways. And there's so many things going on in each one of our lives. Not our students' lives, our lives, everybody's lives. And Rachel can touch just about everything. She's real, she's humble, she's driven, and she's obviously very passionate about what she does. But great to have Rachel back, and she'll always be a big part of our program.
I think what was really cool about today was because I have addressed these players so many times, it's now the third time, and now I feel like part of the program, they know me, okay? And so we've talked about, the first time I came in, dating. We talked about how to treat women. We talked about what does it mean to be a king, how to treat women, respect, protect, cherish, all of that. We talked about dating and all of the whole gamut. But then during the pandemic, we talked a lot about mental health and self-care. And so what do you do the third time you come in? You blend those things, right? You talk about mental health and self-care, but this time we even went one step further, and we talked about your purpose and your dreams and who you came out of this pandemic, right? Like, we're on the more towards the end of it than we are the beginning. So I asked them, you know, what'd you learn about yourself during the pandemic? Like, who did you go in the pandemic as, and who you gonna come out as, right? And that things happen when you're backed against the wall. And so I got a chance to talk to them about that, blend in some mental health, some self-care, and it was just, the response was amazing. And the hugs and the messages I got afterwards, it had really touched their lives. So it was great to be able to kind of bring it all home in a way that inspired their soul. And I like to say, I like to help people find what sets their soul on fire and run towards it with everything they got. And that's what we did today on this meeting room floor.